Ever since PlayStation announced that they would not be attending E3 2019, a lot of people have been curious to see how Xbox would react to that. Would they too hold back, keep their cards close to the chest for the inevitable heavyweight showdown at E3 2020 between the PlayStation 5 and the next-gen Xbox? Or with the stage completely to themselves, do they lay everything on the table and have one of their biggest E3s ever? Well, that question has been answered, and it's been answered by none other than Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, and I want to talk about it. What's going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, Man with the Million, back again with another video. And if you enjoyed this video by the end, make sure you leave it a like or a dislike, and hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, as I would greatly appreciate it. So, Phil Spencer went on Major Nelson's podcast yesterday. I will throw the link in the description so you guys can check it out for yourself. It's about 45 minutes long. It's a really good interview. I recommend listening to it yourself, as there's a lot of great topics that Phil talks about, from xCloud to building the new first party and all the new studios and things of that nature. But I wanted to focus on what he said about E3, because in this short clip, about 3 minutes long, that I'm going to play for you guys, he talks about how they're going to show up to E3 in a big way. And they had a decision to show up or to save money. And this is what Phil had to say.
We're going to play a little Jeopardy.
Uh-oh.
What is 137 days and 15 hours?
I'm going to guess it's E3.
There you go.
Yeah.
E3. Getting ready for that.
Yeah.
I know I've been in some meetings, and you've been in a lot of meetings as well.
Yeah. You know, this is going to be a fun E3 for us. There were obviously some news about E3 back in the fall, and we had a discussion internally of, should we go big? Should we save some money?
Right.
What does that mean? And we decided, no, we're going to do our thing. And we're going to go and be as big at E3 as we've ever been. And I love that opportunity. I love the opportunity to be with our fans in the industry.
Right.
And the industry conversations, it's like a revolving door in Sarah Bond's team, who runs business development for us. And right now, and the third parties coming through, and what do we want to do at E3? A lot of interest. It is going to be fun. And this team, last year we changed venue, which I think.
Oh boy, did we! We upgraded.
We did, and
the Galen was great, but wow,
yeah, it wasn't. I mean, not that it's the Microsoft Theater, but the Microsoft Theater is a special place. I love the location, how it's right in the center of everything. Yeah. And this year we're changing up a couple, as you know, things about how we're showing up at E3,
Yep.
and I think again in a positive way. So, we've done it now for a while, this team, the team. And I love when we throw a new wrinkle in, because I think it gets all of us a little bit on edge in terms of either where it is.
Well, that's the way it was last year.
That's right.
Everyone was like, the people that have been doing it, a lot of the folks on our events team and all the different parts have been here for a long time.
They have.
So they were like, oh, I don't know. And but it was great to see people roll their sleeves up and solve problems and get excited about the new location.
They did. And I think it was world class.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to this year. I'm thinking of, I'm interesting on how and who we get on stage and how we kind of do that this year. And then I think it's going to be great. I think we're still going through some of the internal discussions about how much long-term versus how much near-term do we talk about. You know me, I'm always more of a proponent for just being as transparent as we can be. That said, if things could change or something, you don't want to head fake people and say we're doing X and then we're doing Y. But I feel really good about our plans, and we'll kind of work through those things with the larger organization. But I think it's going to be, I think the content that we'll have will be great. I think, we'll talk about our future. I think we'll talk more about what the Xbox brand means to us. I think rightfully most people, when they think about an Xbox, they think about a gaming console. Yeah. We do as well. Yep. And I love the fact that the gaming consoles play such an important role in our strategy. But at the same time, we have millions of Xbox customers who we never see on console today. Yeah. We see them on a phone, or we see them on a different device or on PC. And to really continue to push this idea that you can be a member of the Xbox community even if you're not playing your games on a console.
Yeah, wherever you are.
wherever you are.
Well, so there you have it, straight from Phil Spencer. Xbox is going to show up at E3 and quote unquote, we're going to go and be as big at E3 as we've ever been. Now, there's a few takeaways I wanted to talk about here. Yes, and I do know that, of course, Phil is going to say this. He is going to pump up his product and E3. He's not going to come on Major Nelson's podcast and say, yeah, we're not really going to have a great E3. It's going to be subpar. You guys shouldn't even watch. I understand that he's going to, put E3 in a positive light for Xbox no matter what. So we'll get that out of the way in the beginning. But I thought it was interesting that they had discussions internally if they should go really big or if they should save some money. Now, the news he was talking about at E3 that happened in the fall was Sony pulling out of E3. And I find it really interesting that they talked about saving money, which would mean, you know what? Let's not even show up. These events, particularly E3, are really expensive to put on. I've heard running one of these shows is $10 million, $20 million, up to $30 million for Microsoft, Sony, EA, Bethesda to put on. So in a time when your main competitor, the PlayStation and Sony, isn't going to be there, you might be looking at it like, you know what, we can save $30 million, we can save $40 million and just not show up and do something later on in the year like Sony's going to. That clearly was an option, as, Phil talked about. But they said, you know what, we can't do that. We need to show up. Phil said he likes going there, meeting with the fans, having the press conference. They said, we have a lot of third parties calling us up. And that's one of the benefits of actually going, is now there's going to be some third-party teams that usually showcase their wares on Sony stage, but there is no Sony stage anymore. Might they be now calling up Phil and being like, yo, we need our game. We need a place to show this amazing game we've been working on for the last couple years. Rocksteady, they have a new game coming out. That normally is debuted with PlayStation. Maybe they're like, can we show it at your stage? It's going to be pretty interesting to see how the whole third-party situation pans out on Xbox. But of course, I'm more interested in the first-party situation. And Phil mentioned, how much do we show of the future? How much do we show of things coming out really soon? And that is the question. Now, they did mention earlier in the podcast, they talked about the initiative, and Major Nelson and Phil said it's going to be a long time before you see what the initiative's working on, so you could immediately scratch that off the list. But we can assume that Halo's going to be there. There'll be a big Gears 5 gameplay demo. I expect Ninja Theory's new game to be revealed. I'm even expecting Playground Games' second open-world RPG that a lot of people think is Fable to finally get revealed. And Phil talked about Playground and how they're awesome as well in the podcast. It's a great listen, so you guys, if you have some time, 45 minutes to spare, make sure you actually listen to it, as he talks about a lot of stuff. But as for E3, just listening to this gets me really pumped up to see just exactly what Team Xbox has in store. They're already in meetings, talking to third parties, kind of figuring out some plans about what games to show early and what games to kind of hold off for later. I want Xbox to put the pedal to the metal. It's time. The last couple years haven't been the greatest, and I understand the reasons for that. But now is the time with the studios that you've purchased to showcase exactly what you have and what Xbox fans can look forward to, not only in 2019, not only in 2020, but also 2021. And then, of course, there is the question, is it possible Microsoft is going to debut or at least show off and reveal the next-gen Xbox at E3? That is pretty interesting. I don't know about that one. I mean, we've talked about it in my prediction. I think they hold that off for XO 2019 or XO 19 as it would be called. But it's still something to keep in the back of your mind. I think there'll be new studio announcements, and I think Microsoft will announce a bunch of new first-party games as well as some games from second party. I think they're going to relish the opportunity to be the talk of the town. The video game industry, all eyes are on them, because EA, Ubisoft, and Bethesda, most of the time their conferences are horrible. It's just basically Xbox and PlayStation. But there's no PlayStation this year, so it's all about Xbox. So you gotta put your best foot forward. Now, there is the other school of thought, like they mentioned in the podcast. Should we just save money and not even show up? And I could see why you would want to do that. Sony's not going to be there. Does E3 really even matter anymore? Is it really that relevant? You could just kind of put on a mediocre show and get by, and then really save the heat for 2020 when the new consoles are coming out. But I think that would be the wrong decision. And hey, it's not my money, right? It's theirs. But I think they're doing the right thing here. Show up to E3 and knock it out of the park instead of saving some money. I think that is the right course of action. Anyways, guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you listen to the whole interview with Phil Spencer. Link will be in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave it a like. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Share this out on Twitter and Facebook. Maybe tell a friend. I'd greatly appreciate that. Hit the sub button if you're new, and if you always want to be notified when I drop new content, hit that notification bell right next to the subscribe button so you'll always be notified when I drop new videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Later, guys.